by my brother-in-law, Chad Gibson, and his partner, Kyle Schultz. And I've worked for them for 9 years. I've been a practicing real estate agent since 2012. Got my license in 2005 when I was a special education teacher. And I did that for 7 years. And then Chad asked me to hop on over to his office. And I was a little, questionable about that because I couldn't do both, because when I do something, I do it like 100%, full strong. So I took that leap of faith, and it's been the best thing that ever happened to me and in my life. And I just love my job so much. I probably have tears in my eyes, so I'll stop there.
Tell us, what is the SRES, that certification that you have?
Yeah, so it's Senior Real Estate Specialist. And what that means is I have a certification that I maintain and have to take continuing education for to work with the senior population and all that entails. And as you well know, like when you're getting into, assisted living, and then there's lots of things that have to do with banking and, financial advisors, and then going into different avenues. There's attorneys involved. It can go into estate planning, living wills and things like that. And then I also consider myself to have a lot of patience, and then a lot of care. So a lot of care goes into helping someone, especially if they've lived in a home, for 50 plus years, and it's their lifetime home where they raise their children and things like that. So it's not just a transaction anymore. It's, moving someone's life. So
we certainly appreciate your kindness. I know anytime you've worked with any of our residents, there's always huge kudos that goes out to you. I know somebody just made a comment that you checked on them during a snowstorm, and that meant the world to them. I remember you mentioning that to me, and that was a huge, it just shows that you care.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I didn't mean to make you cry this morning.
That's okay. That's okay.
Well, why don't I actually would like to hear you brag a little bit. Tell us about your accomplishments or the great things that you've done. I know right now you're doing that special, you spin the wheel. Is it every closing you have?
Oh, yes. I should have brought my board. Yeah. So for every closing, a home sale that I have this year, my client or clients get to spin the wheel, and the proceeds from that go to, the Humane Shelter, Catholic Charities, the Happiness Bag, or Camp Navigate. So each one of those things touch on something that's of importance to me. And then I'm trying to figure out something for next year to, maybe help somebody else. So that's very good. And last year I had an excellent year, sat in March and wondered what that year was going to look like, because we all know COVID hit then, and it was a very slow time. And then the governor shut down, the state. And then at first we were not going to be essential workers. And so I thought I was going to be on lockdown for a long time, and that was really going to affect my business. And I spent some time rearranging the business model and marketing and staying on trend with what other agencies were doing in larger cities and catching up. And so I called the baby tomato phase. So, when the daddy tomato and the mommy tomato are walking and the baby's taking too long, that's kind of how I feel sometimes about Terre Haute. And so I always try to stay ahead. And so I really took a deep dive into that and worked on some things to make my marketing plan a lot better. And then the governor said we were essential workers. And from that moment on, it was just every day, wild. It was a wild ride. I never was home. I did not see my family. It was 5 a.m. until about 11 or 12 at night. And I just woke up in the morning like Groundhog Day and did it all over again. And I ended up with $18.5 million in sales last year, leading the year as the #1 listing agent in the area. So it was an incredible ride.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yes. Thank you.
That's huge.
It's also very hard to talk about myself like that, but thank you for letting me.
You've earned it, that's for sure. And we want everyone else to know how amazing you are. We know, and we recommend you, but others might not. So this is a great chance for others to know that you are a tool and an asset that they can utilize.
No, thank you.
Tell us more about the pandemics, folks. As you said, you were selling during the pandemic. What did that look like? How did that work?
Yeah, and in the beginning, it was really strenuous. They had a lot of rules, regulations on what we were to do. And then the seller signed a form whether they wanted their house to be listed or they wanted it to be listed but put on hold for showings. A lot of people had booties, gloves, hand sanitizer, mask, extras provided. That's what we did. And then there's still people that do that, which is good. For everyone to still stay protected because we're not really in the clear yet. But for each seller in the area, it looked a little different. But, my clients were always masked up. In the beginning, there were a lot of gloves, and then the gloves kind of phased out and the booties stuck around, or they either took their shoes off during showings. But I really do whatever's comfortable for the client, but I'm always still masked up and take my shoes off at least, that's the minimum. But I tell people too that hand sanitizer was huge. Every client I ever took through, and there was a bottle of hand sanitizer there that everyone used it along the way. So that was great, but it still was happening. I mean, people were very cautious, and we stayed, our distances, but in the beginning, I kind of opened the door and let people go in and see, and the sellers, and my sellers, I always tell them still, you can leave all the lights on, and any door that you can leave open, cracked a little bit so that people can just use their elbows. And then, get a nice bottle of disinfecting wipes. And then after a showing, you go through and sanitize, your refrigerator door and your doorknobs that people were, light switches and things that maybe you feel like people messed with. You can do them all, whatever works for you. That's what that looked like. And the market, if you want to know what that looked like, it looked very strong at the time. There was still really low inventory, so people got the best bang for their buck. When it came to being a seller, you're like, wow, I really am going to get this much for my home. That went up 40,000, or 30,000 from what I thought. And then offers were coming in at asking or above asking with minimal days on the market. And that's something that Vigo County hasn't seen in a really long time. So
imagine. What about virtual? Did people do a lot of virtual tours?
Yeah.
Or how did that work?
That's what I was wondering.
Yes, that's one of the marketing tools, that we can now utilize too. So the videos became huge, and YouTube, a couple other types of apps that I've learned that have become very helpful, because people were coming in a lot from other states. I found a lot of California and New York residents and Illinois, like the laws have changed there. And a lot of people are rushing out of those states in a hurry, and they're going to small town USA. So Terre Haute, did see some of that. So I was having a lot of listings that were high-end homes being shown by video, and people making full price offers, and they never toured the home themselves. And so they didn't see it until closing sometimes. And sometimes they were coming in with no inspections, everything, because in California, a $500,000 house looks a lot different. In Terre Haute, they're getting a mansion, so it was crazy to see and witness, because we've never seen anything like it. So
do you think that's going to be something that continues to happen with the virtual tours, or do you think that's kind of a dying off thing? Or
virtual tours will stay. Virtual tours will stay. It just probably won't, as that tears off, people will still want to come and, travel and fly in a plane, unmask and things like that. Like that will change. And so it'll maybe get back to where it was. But I still think that the video is going to be a key marketing feature. We can only go up from there.
Right. I know here, we've been doing these virtual coffee talks, and even though we're getting to the point where maybe we might be able to have people in, we're going to continue doing this just because it seems to be more convenient and people seem to enjoy it.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Tell us, okay, so we know what the market looked like then. What's it look like now?
Yeah, so I did a little research this morning just to prep for today. And so right now we have 79 active listings in the entire Vigo County, and that ranges from $24,000 home all the way up to our top home, which is over $1 million. So it's like $599, and then it jumps up to $1.1 million, but 79. So that number should look like 300 to 400 on an average. And it should be 700 to 900 for, high volume of listings. So 79 is so low that right now in the whole United States, the inventory is the lowest they've seen it since we started recording on the MLS and the multiple listing service since 1982. So across the whole US, the price of homes is, supply and demand is really, in effect. So
Oh yeah, so it's definitely a seller's market right now, that's for sure.
it's a seller's market. And so for the senior real estate market, if it's a great opportunity if someone is moving into, a villa or assisted living, because they're going to get the most money, and then they don't have to turn around and buy an inflated house. So they most likely, they probably bought their home a lot less than what they'd get now. So they're going to be making a profit.
Right, 'cause
Anyway,
I myself wouldn't want to sell my house because I'd have to buy another one.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's something else I was going to talk about on a little bit later, but we have, to go back to the numbers, we have 129 homes pending. So that's pending, from any point in time, even in 2020 till now. For some reason, something hasn't closed yet. We only have 129 that are even on the docket to close. And then the solds that have happened to date from January 1 until today are 198. And a lot of those came from that crazy December. I always tell my sellers from 2019 in the past, I've told them that December 15th, the real estate market will just cut off before Christmas. There's this sweet spot where people are buying things, buying Christmas presents, buying love gifts, and then all of a sudden it's like, let's buy a house. But then about December 15th, for the most part, showings will stop until Christmas, until about January 2nd, and then it just picks back up like normal. But this year, 198 closings so far in 90 days with such low inventory is pretty good number, to have happened. So those are looking good.
Are you still seeing a lot of kind of bidding wars? I know that was going on quite a bit.
Yeah. The bidding wars is you had a client that I helped that listed their house. I'll just throw out a random number. Actually, I just won't even say the number, but they listed their house for a higher price than what the house appraised for, a few years back. And they got $30,000 more in 7 offers and things like escalation clauses. And I made a spreadsheet so we could write out all the details about, not even just the price. That might not be the best thing. It might be, the price is good or better than I thought, but they're also giving me 60 days to move out, or, they're asking for a home warranty. These people aren't asking for a home warranty. They're letting me pick the title company. There's lots of things that help to know, when you use a licensed realtor, that factor in. So it doesn't always turn out to be the price, and sometimes it's cash or conventional or an FHA loan or a veteran's loan. So, that depends too. It's all over the board, but 30,000 more than what they thought they were even going to obtain was really great. That was a really high point in the year.
But they were very happy.
I was so fun. I mean, it was an emotional, fun day for them, and they felt just thrilled. So that makes me thrilled. So
Yeah.
What do people need to do right now to sell their house? Like, for instance, work on the inside. What are people looking for?
Yeah. So when I was thinking about that question, how I was going to answer that, I really think the first thing you should do is talk to a licensed realtor. It's a lot of stress going in, and you think, oh, I have all this stuff, or I should do this, or I shouldn't do this. And sometimes it's overwhelming. And so if you can get one of us in your home, of course, masked up and everything, we can tell you what that would look like for you, particularly in your situation. And so, and really it's not much. The first step is getting somebody in there to tell you like what to do. That's what I think. And then getting rid of things that you're going to get rid of, or you want to call your family and say, hey, would you like this, or can you use this, or do you have somebody that you can help by giving this to, and put that to its best use somewhere else and out of your hair. That's great. And start going through your clothing and, things just daily, if you want to clean out your silverware drawers and things like that. I know my mother's doing these things right now because she has in her head, she's prepping for that. But when it comes to like furniture arrangement and stuff, my photographer and I, we can help you with all of that, and just planning, and then speaking to where you're going to go, getting all that paperwork in line as well at the same time. But yeah, I think each situation is different, but it shouldn't be as stressful as it tends to be. And really just a step by step, do this and then do this and then do this, and then we'll be ready to put your house on the market. I think that's something I can provide for people.
Right. I know a lot of times people say, oh, I need to, before I put my house on the market, I need to paint this room. I need to do this with the cabinets. I'm like, let's not until you meet with Carrie.
Yeah. typically what I tell people right now is no, like you don't really need to do anything because people are so eager to have a home that doesn't matter. It's like, oh, we can get that wallpaper off later, or we can just paint is not an issue, really. That's not a.
So what are
even
your
if it was,
absolute do nots? What should people absolutely not do when they're putting their house on the market?
Go off of a Zestimate. Don't do that. Don't go off your tax assessment either, because that's not right. What do you not do? Well, I mean,
Should, for instance, like, if they've got bad carpets, would you recommend replacing it, or would you say the buyer is going to do that?
it's still up in the air. Like, I don't know because I haven't seen it, but if it has like a pet odor, then I would say you need to replace it. But if it's still in good condition, it's like an off color, I would say the buyers can do that. And it depends on how much furniture is involved and stuff. Like, I wouldn't say carpet's the number one concern at the moment.
What about, so you mentioned kind of getting rid of some of the things that you don't need. How much do you feel like people should downsize when they're kind of going to put their house on the market and start showing it? What would you say to get rid of, or things like that? Yeah.
I would say to get rid of the furniture that you don't need. So if you have a 4-bedroom house and every bedroom has twin beds and a queen bed and a king bed, and maybe you're going to move and you want to get a queen bed and convert to one in your other room, you're going to get rid of your king, then go ahead and do those kinds of things at the moment, and maybe somebody else could get good use from them. That's still after talking with me or someone else to say, is my home going to be better staged or not? So that's the first step, getting someone in there to tell you that. And then from that moment, start tagging your items that you think you want to take with you, or your favorite pieces. And even if you have 20 favorite pieces, tag them all. And I tell everybody that you guys have the people in line to help them. And I'm there to help them too. I know a lot of the layouts at Westminster, and so the room sizes and everything, like the back of my hand. So it's easy to say this will work in this space, and we can design a floor plan, and then you pick what you want, and we can add from that. So keep what you want. You can always get rid of it later, but you can't pull it back. So I say keep the things that mean something to you, that bring you joy, and we'll go from there.
What else do you feel like we need to know, or the residents and prospective residents need to know about listing and the market right now? What's important?
Well, your home's going to go fast. So I guess be ready to sell when you do put your house on the market. Right now is a wonderful time all the way. I'm going to just say that from listening to the Chicago Market Economic Report, for the next 3 years, they think that the interest rates are going to stay where they are. So we think that the market is still going to be pretty strong for home sales, but I can only say like what's happening right now. And so I see, people normally put their home in the market on the spring. So here we are in the spring. I think people are waiting for new listings to pop up. And I'm telling you that people flock to them like vultures on, roadkill, because if you have a new listing, you will have showings that day, the next day, all the way until you want to stop them to get an offer. That's how that's going to happen right now. So be very ready to have that conversation with your realtor in very few days. So it will be a plan. You want to have a strategic plan on how you're going to do that and how you're going to list. So if you're going to list your home, know that you're going to list with closing and then maybe 30 to 45 days possession. Know exact date that you're going to be moving somewhere else, so you can put in that date, no possession until May the 28th or something. And so that way, when you get an offer, that agent already knows to write that offer that way, and there's no negotiation from your perspective, your standpoint. So that's the most important thing. And then the decluttering, I didn't get to that. We talked about cleaning closets and going through, drawers and everything. But what I didn't tell you is people do open things like that, and they want to see vacancy. So if you have a linen closet, for example, you want to make sure that you have a shelf that's empty, so they can say, hey, I can put my stuff here, instead of, that tells a story that this, they're running out of space. I need a house with more space. Well, make it look like there's a lot of space, and maybe start packing some of your clothes that you're going to keep. So they're just boxes in the garage, because that's another thing that buyers like is, oh, this person's on their way out, like a hotel, you're on your way out. You're not sticking around. You're going to another place. And I'm close to having this dream now too. So buyers do like boxes in the garage. So people worry about their boxes, but don't worry about those boxes.
Well, and you're there with them, right? So, I mean, it's not like they're going to be able to do anything with it. You're right there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And anytime that an agent is in your home, it's a licensed realtor in the state of Indiana. And anytime there's an inspector, they're licensed in the state of Indiana. So you have licensed people in your home. They're not allowed to give out like a code or a key or just let them in and leave. That doesn't happen. I can say that sometimes people bring more than one person, and they tend to stay together. But they're also not a babysitter. But I put your valuables away, of course. But no, there's not a lot of theft that I know of.
Good. I would hope not. What is the most popular house right now? What kind of bedroom to bathroom ratio? Is there something that's most popular?
No, but I can tell you that 4 bedrooms bring the most money to date in Vigo County. In the last 10 years, they bring the most money price per square foot if we look at the data. And then it's a 3 bedroom, and then goes to a 5 bedroom, and then down to a 2 bedroom. So we have very few 1 bedroom homes in Vigo County. So, but the majority of homes that we do have in Vigo County are a 3 bedroom. So that's the largest amount that we have. People do like 2.5 bathrooms, or the master, or we call it the primary bedroom now. They like to have their own. That's a thing, but it's not a necessity always. So that's okay. This is a newer thing. They like his and her closets, or if you have a very large master closet, people tend to like that. They like split bedroom floor plans. So the primary on one side and the kiddos room on the other, or guest room on the other. They like a guest room, but not everybody gets one. Basements are still a popular request. Fenced in yards are a popular request. Yeah, those are the popular ones. And then, HGTV has really done a number on people's expectations, and Terre Haute is not HGTV material at the moment. And so when something like that does come on, it goes very quickly, and for high dollar. But majority of homes aren't like that. And I think people coming in town from other areas, like they might expect that right out of the gate, and then they get used to, or they get told by other agents, that you're gonna deal with some of this outdatedness, and that's okay, because you get to have a blank canvas, to make it your own later. So I always say, leave it better than you found it. That's the goal. So
I like that. One thing I want to point out is you talked about definitely the steps on, you want to come in and tell them, what's going to be needed for the sale, or what's going to show well, and the steps, and, making sure that closing date is set up in that agreement, especially if they're coming to Westminster Village, because, we have to get their apartment ready. I just kind of want to throw out that there's kind of a system that we use, and that's, of course, deposit. Then I recommend Carrie come out, see your house, get it on the market, or get it in the process of going on the market. Then we would have John come out, the moving and downsizing company that we recommended and actually spoke last week, to talk about the downsizing process and the auction process. But we work hand in hand with Carrie. So Carrie and us will communicate back and forth on when the apartment's going to be ready. So it's a big team effort, especially when you're working with Carrie. It's so much easier.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. Like, you guys have built an amazing team of people, and like John, he knows what he's doing, and he also cares. And so you're just in good hands when you keep saying me, it can be anyone. Like, everybody has a different personality, and each agent might be different for each person. And you just have to really have a connection and trust the person that you're working with. And so everybody's opinion is going to be different.
And the best thing is to have you out there and really interview you, or have another real estate agent out and interview them and figure out who works best for your personality. I just know personally we've had great relationship with Carrie, and it's been
I
so
love working with you guys.
so easy to make sure that we're communicating, you know,
Yes.
on when the apartment's ready, where we are in the move-in process, where we are in the sales process. So it's a big team effort. I mean, granted, we'll do it with whoever we have to get it done, but it's just
Yeah, and communication is so, especially when you're dealing with construction, communication is huge. And so when you move into Westminster and you get your new shiny space and, you know, you get your own choices and all of that, it takes a little minute to get all that finished. And so it's really great that we can talk, and I can call Sarah and I can call Rebecca and I can call Kate. And we can, work. So you're not even having to worry about it. And you might not even know what's going on in the background. And then we just update you, this is ready, and it's just a fun day. So
get as stress-free as we can. Now, Eileen has a question. She would like for you to define HGTV in your description. She said HGTV value.
Well, HGTV, so I have to say a disclosure here. I don't watch HGTV because I have zero time to watch television or do movies or anything like that. So I am so boring and lame, but I know just from seeing on social media, like pictures of HGTV homes, and I do know who Joanna Gaines is. And so her home style, it was extremely popular. And so people in 2019 and the beginning of 2020 really wanted the move-in ready house. Like the millennials are coming in thinking that this house has to be this way. Like I can only see what's there. So that's 80% of the population only sees what's there. So 20% has the ability to say, oh, well, this wall can come down, and they can be Joanna Gaines themselves. But 80% of the population, your target market, 80% of them can't. And so they also don't have, millennials tend to not have a lot of out-of-pocket money to where they can put into the home. So they're looking for move-in ready homes. But right now in the market, there are no homes that are out there for the most part. And so when one does come on, it doesn't matter if the wall's pink. They say, I'll paint it. That's fine. It's just paint. I can paint it. Or it's fine. It's a home. It's a roof over my head. Some people are so desperate to find a home because they're living in a hotel. They're here for work. They have a job transfer. Like they have to have their own space because maybe their employer is only going to pay for so long. And then they're going to have to start paying out of pocket, or they already are, or they have pets, and, they want their kids to get rooted in a school. And so there's lots of moving parts and pieces that factor into these decisions. And the HGTV isn't, it's nice to have that kind of home, but it's not necessary in today's market.
Now that style is more farmhouse, correct? I guess.
Yeah, her style is farmhouse, but it also tends to be, modern farmhouse, and a lot of the modern stuff is coming back, and those mid-century modern homes are really big. But the traditional houses are nice too. I know white woodwork is the thing. People are still into that. But wood's coming back. So it's good for me, because if you can see my house, I don't know if I turn it this way. Oh, nope, it's not going to work. It's all oak. I have an oak house. So
I painted it white. I'm guilty, but at least I saw the vision.
There you go.
Well, I am going to open this up for everybody to turn on their cameras, turn on their microphones, so they can ask you questions that maybe we haven't thought of, especially as sellers.
Okay.
All right, so everybody can go ahead and turn on your cameras, turn on your microphones if you would like. Maybe. Here we go. Good morning, Jeannie. How are you? Oh, your microphone's off. Here we go.
I'm good.
Good. Good morning, Patricia. Jane.
Good morning.
Art, hello. Mr. Western. Does anybody have any questions or anything that they'd like to ask Carrie?
Well, mine would be more along the lines of from one state to the other. How do they change in terms of legal documents? Do you like wills or living wills? Do they Do the states accept from other states, or I don't know how Indiana is for that.
Do you live in Illinois?
No, I live in Connecticut.
Oh, okay. Well, I would refer you back to your state planning attorney on that one, but I'm also assuming that each state will be different. Yes,
Okay.
state law. I see Art. Hi, Art.
Does anybody else have any questions or thoughts? Eileen, have you met Carrie yet? I think you've seen her on some of our coffee talks.
Yeah.
I gotta get the screen to see your face. Oh, there she is.
Hi there. I have a question. I have a house that's 115 years old and I've lived in it for 50 years. There are some things that I see that would not pass inspection because my husband was an electrician. And some electricians are like shoemakers. They kind of jerry-rig things around. So would it be wise to do things now that I know would not pass inspection and I would have to do at some time later down the road?
Yeah, so let me ask you, do you have knob and tube wiring?
Oh, I think most of that is gone. But
Okay.
there are other things that in the basement that are questionable in terms.
Okay. Well, yes, then I would do that. I would say that if I were in your shoes, we might chat and might refer that a home inspector come out and check out your house prior to listing your house. And so you can go through and like with a fine tooth comb with me, and we can go through and say, this, and this will come up. This probably won't. This might, this might be a concern. And so all those things will be taken care of. And then it looks like your home is, in tip top shape and no worries for the buyer coming in. And then the reasoning on that is FHA and VA loans are 40. I know where you live. I've been by, dropped a card in your mailbox one day. I love your house. 40% of our buying pool is FHA and VA loans. And so those people are looking for those types of things that you're talking about, and they have to be right, and peeling paint and things like that. So.
Okay, and I'm keeping a folder of things that I'm doing, like a water heater, electric water heater that I had for 25 years finally went out, and so I had a new one installed and have it dated and have all the paperwork.
Yes.
I'm trying, when things are changing, to put that in a folder to have available for the buyers in terms of.
And that's wonderful. And I'm actually going to someone's house today that is going to get a place in Westminster, and they're getting me, as a handwritten note of everything and the dates, and I'm going to put it on a pretty form, and I'm going to put it with the listing. And so when agents and I go out and show the home, we'll have all that information, very detailed and organized for the buyers to see.
Okay, all right.
Thank you for doing that.
How does the showing process work? So, lost you for a second. There we go.
Yeah, that was my fault.
No, that's okay. I know you mentioned that you have a photographer and all that. How does that work?
Oh, that is so fun. It's like my favorite day. So we come out, and I use a lady named Shannon Bradbury. She's a professional photographer. We work really well together. She masks up. We take our shoes off. You can be there or you don't have to be there, but we're in the home for about an hour, hour and a half, depending on how big your house is and what we have going on. If it's going to be over 5,000, we might be there a little bit longer, but we're there. We move things out of the photos, and that might be something that the buyers are looking at, like trash cans in the picture, and the blinds open or the blinds closed, or what looks better, and we'll make beds and put pillows and stage, and we'll do things, and then we put it all back the way it was, and then we leave. And so there's a big positive factor for professional photography, in my opinion, and that is that buyers might see 3 homes that day, or 10 homes that day, and they get confused. Like, I don't personally get confused, on what's what and where it was, but they do sometimes. And so what they tend to go back to are the photos. And then if they like something, they tell their friends and family, like, hey mom, I'm looking at this house online, you know, she might be from Connecticut also, and say, you know, can you look at this for me? And so they're going to the photos. And so you don't want a cell phone photo or a dark photo. You want an edited Photoshop photo, because that's the image that is stuck in their mind about that house to make, you know, a better offer or make an offer in general.
I remember whenever we were looking at houses, I would look at the pictures online. And of course, I wouldn't even go look at a house if I didn't like the pictures that were online.
Mm-hmm.
And I would see people taking pictures with their cell phone, and you could see them in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And that would stick in my mind. And I most likely wasn't going to look at that house.
Yeah. Yeah. And toilet lids up, that's like one of my big pet peeves, but I'm trying to let that go. But I mean, just put the toilet lid down. So.
What other questions does anybody have for Carrie? If you're not comfortable saying it out loud, please feel free to put it in the chat or the Q&A. I'd be more than happy to ask that question for you.
You mentioned 4 bedrooms were really a seller. Well, we have 4 bedrooms. We have 4 rooms on the 2nd floor. But they were initially bedrooms, but then we changed the use of them. So that I have an office that I'm sitting in now. That was our son's bedroom. The 2 larger bedrooms, one is the master bedroom and the other is a den. It's where we watch TV. And then there's a third, which was I think considered the maid's room. It comes off a special stairway in the back, and it has a half bath. So, you know, when you have four rooms like that, are people going, but they're used differently. Do you think they're going to see that they were really bedrooms, or is that kind of a negative thing?
Do they have closets?
What?
Do they all have closets?
No, they don't. 2 of the 4 do.
Any bedrooms downstairs with
Nope.
closets? I'd have to come look at it, but they do not have a physical closet. They're not considered bedrooms.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah. But for anyone else and for you, if you have bedrooms being utilized for different spaces right now, that's okay, because if they do have closets, people can envision them as bedrooms. And to be considered for an appraisal, they have to have a closet. But a lot of times people will, and especially in this market, consider a room without a closet as a bedroom if they need it and they have a 4th kid. They're not going to say, oh, this has no closet. They'll just get them a dresser or, you know, an armoire or something like that, and it's fine.
Okay.
Carrie, I have a question here for you. How well are homes with acreage selling with an early 50s brick home selling?
Ranch, maybe a brick ranch. Great. Land is amazing. So bring on the land, please. Yes. Great. I mean, everybody wants something different, you know, but there is a lack of land, homes with acreage to do, you know, if somebody wants, you know, permaculture is a thing, growing your own food, having your own chickens and things. People are getting not necessarily away from subdivisions, but a lot of people are starting to use more resources of their own from 2020, you know, just the scarcity of food at one point scared some people into a different way of life. So it's slowly taking off, really. It's a thing.
Free range chicken are very common now.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I'm starting a garden this spring with my husband and family, so I won't be around much to pick it, but I'll try to enjoy it.
I plan to give it a shot. We shall see how that goes. All right. Any other questions? Carrie, any comments that you would like to share, or any other words of wisdom?
Well, I want to thank you guys for, you know, having me on here. I always enjoy seeing you. And I just want to let you guys know that Westminster is an amazing place. Every time I go there, I feel so comfortable. I don't want to leave. They're very welcoming, and it's not just like the first time and them getting you in there. It's a consistent thing forever. And that's the really cool thing about Westminster. It's so unique for Vigo County. And then they build a great team of people, and they always try to find the best to help out their residents. So again, I thank you, and you can call me anytime. They have my contact information, or you can just find me at Gibson Real Estate. So.
All right, well, just to be good stewards of everybody's time, I guess I'll let everyone go. If you have any questions, please feel free to email or call me, email or call Carrie. We're here to help in any way. All right. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rebecca, I'll be calling you, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.